honest, I cannot really tell how I ended up there, but the short of the long is that at the time I have been in SWAPO for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
Having joined, went for military training at first at Haidua, then at Hainyeko, then I went for secretariat training at Kakurukade Munguda, worked for SWAPO Women's Council, was sent to Lusaka for journalism training, then to Harare for further journalism training, and then I was there working for the Voice of Namibia. Then SWAPO President Sam Nujoma visited Harare, and amongst his entourage there was a friend, a comrade, who then came and told me that, Lefa, your name is on the list of enemy agents who are going to be thrown into the dungeons. They, at the time, they used to be called Etale or Matale. And I'm like, I was so shocked. And I was like, me? How do I end up in those things?
Around which year was that?
That was in 1986. Yeah, so I told him, look, SWAPO is fighting for solidarity, freedom, and justice. I am going back to Angola. And if they are arresting enemy agents, I will definitely not be arrested because I'm not one. So I went back to Angola, and I found myself naked only to an underpanty with 9 men, some of them complete strangers, some of them I knew. And I'm being beaten up to say, when, where, and how did you start working with the enemy? I was shocked. I ended up asking them, what enemy? And one of them was like, she doesn't even know her enemy anymore. Because it was such a shock. To my mind, I expected to go there and find maybe one of those people who used to try crimes like Bo Galen Kolokwi. We used to call him Magistrate Galen Kolokwi and others, and there will be witnesses and so forth, and I will be asked, did you do this or did you do that? Or my accuser will be there saying you did A, B, C, and D. And none of that happened. Just sticks, just violence. Suddenly, by my own comrades, suddenly I was no longer a comrade, but an object of hatred. Violence. Anyway, that is what all I can say in short. Yes.
Meme Ilona, what was your experience? What happened to you?
In short, first I was teaching in education unit, a military camp in Lubango. Then there was a special class made for me to prepare the people, the planned combatants who are to be sent to universities like Kashikola. You know Kashikola, he was a minister here.
Yeah, the deputy minister.
And also I remember Mburunganga. And then later I found myself being taken out of education unit and taken into a camp called Center. And there where I was no more doing anything. I stayed there maybe for a year or two. And then one night I had 2 children, a boy, Leo, and a daughter, Mutanis. And so I found in one night somebody just there at my place saying, pack your things down. So I packed my things. We were taken to a place called Screen Board with my children. And then I found myself at the office, and I was asked, here you are brought here to tell us about your recruitment, your training, and your mission of coming abroad. I thought they were looking for the truth. So I told them, no, I've just come to fight for my country. Then it happened maybe 3 times. And then one day I found myself being woken up and put in the pit. I was made to lie in the pit, and then they are asking me to speak out, to answer those 3 questions. I don't know those answers, but somehow they took me out, and then they put me in a Wazaka. In that Wazaka, my 2 children were made to sit on the back seat, while I was made to lay with Gamboa. You know Gamboa? Then we were lying there, so that when you are transported, it's in the night and you don't know where you are going, so you have to die. And then, and I came out. I was brought to a camp. I realized later it was called Minya Base. Then I was put in in a small cell where I was made to lie. Then the next day, somebody came, took me out, was taken to a certain, maybe they call it office in the bush, and then I was told to undress and remain only in a panty. Then they asked me those questions. I answered the same. When they started beating, there was a big bunch of fresh wood. Then they started beating and beating and beating and ask you again. But first they have to take a cloth, and then they put some clothes in. They push that ball of clothes into the mouth, and then they tie here so that you won't be able to scream. Yeah, then they start beating, and they beat, and they stop, and they blood is over. And if you have gone there wearing a skirt, you can no more come. You can no longer wear it because you are swollen all the whole body. Then you get into a place where you are washed with warm water by some girls, and then it continued like that for 5 months. And then one day, that old lady, there is the mother of Ndeshiti Kwambi, I don't know whether you know her, Meme Marta Angula, she came in the next door cell. Then we were talking through the wall. She said, "Oh, Ilona, you hear my child?" I say, "Yes." "Oh, no, don't worry. The truth will come out one day, and then we'll be taken away from here." I was tortured for 2 years, she's speaking now. And I got something like heart problems. And I was taken out and was put in the dungeons together with those who have already made their confessions. "Don't you know the police officers at your place? How are you coming from?" I say, "I know." "Yeah, you must just make up a story. Otherwise, you will be beaten until you die." Yeah, and then when they came to take me, so that lady has come to give her story. Those people in the dungeons, they have already made for her a story.
So these are the so-called the forced confessions now.
Yeah, you won't be living if you have not made that false confession. You couldn't have seen me here. That lady saved my life. But first, Mama Shipanga came in before her, and she told me the same thing. But because I didn't know her, she was just a young girl coming from Namibia and was immediately in the dungeon. Say, "Yeah, I know your brothers and sisters. Yeah, and Sister Nera was there, and you make up a story." I didn't believe her.
I understand.
But when Mama Marta came, I knew her. I saw her in Luanda. So I believe her. Then when they came, because those people, when they beat me, I remember one day they beat me to death, and I was put to sit down in the corner like there. You beaten, you have blood all over and scent. And I asked, I wanted his gun to shoot me. He has got a pistol here.
Just shoot me.
But I couldn't speak. I'm like a patient now in the hospital. I was beaten nicely that I couldn't even speak. So he gave me his watch. "Look, what's the time?" I look at the watch. I could see the time, but I couldn't speak. Then he threw me into there, and I'm now like looking at his gun. But I couldn't speak. So he said, "This gun will never shoot you. It will just kill you with sticks."
I understand.
But I didn't talk.
No, I just wanted to get the ground, which you have both clarified. I've asked other survivors, Dr. Martin, as to if there are so many people, thousands of people, hundreds of people, why would anyone just pick you and say, "No, somehow you are a spy"? What would lead to anyone pinpointing you?
To be honest, Toivo, I have asked myself that question severally. And up to now, there is nothing I can put my finger on to say this is the reason. But looking at the demographics of the detainees, I would think that maybe originally they started looking for anybody who is not one of them, because the majority of the people who were torturing others were my tribe's people, the Vambos. So they were probably looking for none of Vambos, the Damaras, the Namas, the Kalas, the Basters, the Hereros, and the Mbuitis. And those people with Oshivambo maybe names and surnames, but who are not really well versed in Oshivambo because they grew up this side of the red line. Then you had the Caprivians and Kavangos and Ovambos who could, for example, speak Afrikaans. Like I honestly don't know why anybody would pick me, because I was a Swapo kid going places. A very disciplined soldier and cadre who is told to jump, and I jump without even asking. Yeah, but suddenly there I was being called an enemy agent by my own comrades.
You see, thanks you started with that question, because Professor made that comment himself.
You believe as a president of a political movement, you believe that version of events?
No, that's why I'm challenging it, because he said some people were not abused. Some people, so to say, did not have an in-depth understanding of the struggle. And the likes of him had to go to the people, including his own father, telling him, start believing now that you are being abused, even though you are not being abused. Start believing now that we are in the middle of a struggle and it needs to be won. So the first signal that you send out there is, those people were not abused, but which is not the case. Namibians from all walks of life were abused, were misused, were tortured, were killed, with the exception of none. So first, to want to hint that it didn't happen, even though it happened, that's where my problem comes in.
Yeah, but Mr. President, here it's yourself who is saying that they were not part of the struggle, and
that came from what Joe Dijo has said. If you would go back into that,
no, but he didn't
the
say
insinuation is for the second person or for the reader or the listener. The message is they were not part of the struggle. That's not what I said. They were part and parcel of the struggle. But the insinuation from what Joe Dijo has said would be interpreted, even by myself, that people from the Kavango and Northeast were not abused.
Okay.
Yes.
You've made that point. Now you've clarified. Now I understand. You said he was glorifying white supremacy. Of course, this must have been in reference to when I asked him what the role of white people should be in a modern dispensation, and he was going on about them because of historical factors. They remain resourceful in many things. They understand a few things better than perhaps some that were not part of that process. And we said, how do we best exploit the resources, whether it's human resources or capital that they possess? And I think his comment was really just to say that there's something that they can contribute, and then you say it's white supremacy. He's praising white supremacy.
White supremacy mentality. Yes, that's what he's advancing. You see, if as a government we have failed to make our own people believe in ourselves, that we are equals or we are better than whoever, and we can do the job, we shouldn't scapegoat it by saying, but there are people out there who can do it. Where are our own people? We were fighting for our own people to take charge of our country's affairs.
I don't think Joe Dijo was asking for a replacement, that it was an alternative to black people. You were just saying, in addition to the workforce and the skills that we have, let's have everybody have their hands on the deck.
Why should we still want to have a relapse of what does not have good memories in our thoughts? Why can't we do the jobs ourselves if we can do it? We have failed to train our own people sufficiently to take proper roles, to take responsibilities, and that's why we are lagging behind, and that's why we are still looking over our shoulders. Where are those guys from whom we have taken over? Because up to here we cannot anymore. We have proven that we cannot. So now we should look over our shoulders. That's not the solution. The solution is human resources capacitation of our people, those who were deprived of the opportunities to lead this country to glory. And that failure is squarely on the door of government.
Yeah, but if you are saying we are all Namibians, we are 3 million people in this country. This one is skilled in engineering. This one is in teaching. This one is in kindergarten teaching, or whatever. Why can't we have a pool of all these skills in one instead of saying, oh, the 500,000 people who are of a different race, for argument's sake, their skills, we don't need them. We are just depriving the country.
There's nothing wrong from taking from a pool, but there is everything wrong wanting to insinuate that those people will do a better job than the other people. Capacitate all of them, and then you won't need to come to a point where you will say the Ovambos will be better, the Damaras will be better. It will be all Namibians capacitated in one pool from where you will extract. And for as long as the job is properly done, you don't need to go on race lines.
First is that the trade unionism overall, all over the world, if you look at the research done by the ILO and other interest group, is in decline. All over the world, not just in Namibia.
Yeah.
Because of the forever changing nature of the working environment, technological advancement, digitalization, AI, and all these type of things. That's one. Secondly, the moment when you form a union, you register, you are regulated by law. So the question is, can PSUN rock up at a company where there are problems, even if they are not our members? Yes, you can do that. You can come and ask for an engagement with the company. If you are lucky, the company will grant you an audience and you will discuss and resolve the issue. That's one leg. The second leg would be you create the necessary publicity to draw attention to the problem, to the issue, and those who are in the right to do that will join you and assist you. The other part would be that the company will start getting legal with you, but of course those ones will come later, secondary, to say you are not. It's not a scope. They are not your members, and in terms of our laws, you can only speak on behalf of your members. There is also a High Court ruling of 2012 by our courts that stated that trade unions can only raise issues on behalf of their members. But to answer your questions, when workers are in distress, we will rise to the occasion, and we have done that before already. So, although moving forward, you will have some hurdles, but drawing attention to the matter, you can do that.
Yeah. I'm asking that, Mr. Akura, because if you look at there's also a rise of activism in Namibia, social activists who, to me, seem to have pushed ahead of many unions in advocating for issues. We saw the Amshelelos getting arrested all the time, Dimbulgani Nauyama getting arrested all the time because they went to stand in solidarity with employees and whatnot. Is that an indication of unions not doing their work? Why do unions seem to have become very comfortable? They just say, no, you don't have a bargaining thing with us, and therefore we are only concerned about our members.
You have as I alluded to earlier, you have very low union density in the country. If you take the number of employees or workers we have in this country and take the number of those that belongs to unions, it's very, very low. And then you have the legislative environment, the unions that have the right to speak. At a certain company, you need to have 50% plus one for you to be able to bargain. That in itself, it's a problem. There are also, what we have determined is that a lot of employees who are experiencing problems are not aware of their trade union and labor rights, and therefore they do not approach the trade unions. And also for the trade unions, from our side ourselves, we are also at times slow to react or to go out and start mobilizing, raise awareness, and so on. So when you have social activists that are coming up, like as you said, Mr. Michelello and others, they are basically filling a void, filling a gap. There is a problem at a certain company. The workers, because they saw him on TV, they will reach out to him and he will respond and raise awareness on the issues. So basically, it's an indication of that there are gaps, because of the low union density.
Yeah. Sorry. It's the same thing that we in the media face sometimes. People saying, oh, how come Job Panda is releasing these huge files about exclusive files about corruption and whatnot? Where's our media? But people go directly to activists. Sometimes maybe it's because they have no faith in journalism, or Mr. Mpanda, Professor Mpanda, is just a more accessible person than Taiwan Jabela. I don't know. But we face the same scrutiny. What are the recurring issues, labor issues at the moment? When you sit in your office, what are the most common issues that keep coming up time and again from your members and whatnot?
In the public space where we operate, we have issues, the constant cry of low salaries. It's there. Unfortunately, like in the public sector of the government, we are not the bargaining union. But then we have a lot of cases that are taking up our time of victimization in the workplace, where people are being pushed in and out, and then you receive a case, but you can see clearly in this case, it is just a matter of this person X wants to show his or her power, especially in parastatals. I will show you because I'm the CEO, or I am the whatever. It's about brinkmanship. You also have a problem with understanding labor laws. You'll come at the company, you need to bargain on behalf of the workers. But then the company somehow has an issue with you. They cannot allow you to bargain because they don't understand the enabling legislation that governs collective bargaining. You first have to overcome the hurdle of convincing the company that in terms of the law, if you recognize me as the exclusive bargaining agent, we need to start bargaining on the demands of the workers. You can even go up to 2 years dilly-dallying with the company until you can end up at the labor commissioner. It may take 2 years. The companies, nowadays we have a lot of lawyers coming from UNAM and I don't know where, who are interpreting the Labor Act to the seniors at parastatals, and whatever this lawyer from UNAM is telling the bosses, it is believed to be true. And now you have to overcome this hurdle. So it's some of the issues that we are faced with. So mainly, our time is consumed by disciplinary hearings, cases, victimization, and to a certain extent, occupational health and safety issues is also coming up. And conditions of employment is also another issue that is always coming up. Discriminatory practices, unfair labor practices, it's always coming up.
The final question to you, Mr. Hakura, is how has the situation of unemployment, very high unemployment, some saying it's as high as 55% in a country, how has that affected the I don't want to call unions as businesses, but the bottom lines, people having lost their jobs, just to the membership base of unions, essentially.
No, it does. For example, in our federation, there are a number of unions that were also affected by this. If a factory closes or a shop closes, they lose members because a trade union is a membership-based organization. So the moment when people are losing their jobs, you are losing members. It's obvious. So it's affecting a lot of unions, and also coupled with a low uptake of people joining the unions, especially the young generation, is not so keen on joining trade unions. Especially if you look at some of them who say, no, I would rather have a lawyer that I'm paying per month rather than having a union. Yeah, and so on. Probably we don't speak the language that they speak.